Hello friends, don't we all complain about the small and large problems in our lives? But have you ever considered that not your complaints, but only gratitude can change your fate in an instant? Today's story is about a frail starling whose single phrase completely transformed its life. On a vast, barren plateau lived a small, weak starling. Its life was nothing but an episode of suffering. It was so sickly that its feathers had fallen out. It couldn't fly, and it had no permanent shelter. Life, for it, meant only pain, loneliness, and a struggle for survival. One day, a white swan was flying along that path. The starling called out to it in a weak voice, "Brother Swan, please stop for a moment." The swan paused. "What is it, sister? Why do you look so desolate?" The starling said with a hopeless look. "Where are you going?" The swan replied, "I am going towards the abode of sages, a pilgrimage for the wise." Hearing this, a faint hope appeared in the starling's eyes. It bowed its head and said, "Brother, if you go there, please ask the omniscient sage about me. When will this suffering of mine end? When will a little peace come into my life?" The swan promised. "Don't worry, sister. I will definitely inquire about your fate." Saying this, it flew away. When the swan reached the pilgrimage, it met an enlightened celestial being. The swan spoke of the starling's sorrow and inquired about its destiny. The celestial being said sadly, "It is written in her fate that she will spend another long 10 years in this kind of suffering. It is impossible for her to see happiness before that." The swan felt very bad. It said, "If I tell her this, she will be completely devastated. All her hope will be lost. Is there no way to help her?" The celestial being contemplated for a moment and said, "There is one way. Tell her to recite one phrase sincerely in every situation. Thank you, God, for everything. This is her true test." The swan quickly returned and delivered the message to the starling. The starling was hesitant at first, but she promised, "No matter what happens, I will always say thank you, God, for everything." When she lay collapsed on the hot stones, she would say, "Thank you, God, for everything." When she was parched with thirst but couldn't find water, she would say, "Thank you, God, for everything." Even when her feathers fell out due to illness, she would still say, "Thank you, God, for everything." Slowly, a miraculous transformation began. New, bright feathers started growing in place of her weak ones. One day, as she was crossing the plateau in her fragile body, the sky suddenly turned dark. A strong wind began, and torrents of rain poured down in an instant. Green vegetation quickly sprouted on the near-desert plateau. A small stream of water also appeared. The starling became completely healthy. She could fly, and pure joy descended upon her life. 10 days later, the swan was returning via the same path. It was astonished by the sight. The starling was flying with joy, and the surrounding barren plateau was now filled with green. The swan quickly returned to the pilgrimage and asked the celestial being, "What happened? You said she was destined to suffer for 10 years, but how did her life change in just 10 days?" The celestial being smiled and replied, "Yes, 10 years of sorrow was written in her fate, but she herself changed it." When someone genuinely thanks God in every situation, be it happiness or sorrow, their previous karma is burned to ashes. Her test is over. Due to her pure gratitude, 10 years of sorrow ended in just 10 days. Friends, the moment a slight problem arises in our lives, we start to complain. We ask, "Why did this happen only to me?" But we forget that the power of gratitude has the ability to change our fate. Complaining makes our lives heavier, but gratitude makes life lighter and easier. From today, make a promise that no matter what situation God puts you in, no matter how difficult or how beautiful, you will sincerely say, "Thank you, God, for everything." Remember, this one small change in life can transform your entire existence. Come, let us all say together, "Thank you, God, for everything."